to write. So when I was reading Fletcher's the section from his book, I was thinking I came to the part about the six conditions, and that he mentions the six conditions will lift our students' writing. And so I think he refers to a hot air balloon. So I actually want to use his six conditions to kind of talk about and put together all the different things that we've learned in this module. The very first thing that he mentions is our kids offer kids real choice. Students can only write about what they know about. That is Calkins, Elridgeworth, 2016. In the past, we, the teachers, have made some poor assumptions. And I'm going to give you an example of that. I work with mostly an MLL population. And in the past, a lot of our parents of our students and our students are immigrants. And so we would do research on immigrants. And we would learn all about Ellis Island, and we would learn about how people were like they would arrive at Ellis Island. If they were unhealthy, they would be sent back to somewhere else. And so we thought, well, we're doing a really good job. We're giving, our kids can relate to this. And what we realize now, or what I realize now, is that um, that's research on Ellis Island was so far from our students and our students' parents' immigrant story that it really did not create a connection. Um, Stories need to have an authentic connection to their lives. That's from Creeley and Diamond, 2018. So by not offering, we didn't really offer the kids the choice to write their immigrant story. We had them write about immigration. So you see the disconnect there? Okay, so let's look at the second condition. The second condition was that the real choice creates engagement. So when a child commits to the subject that they want to write about, it allows the writer to imprint his or her passion to the page. This is Calkin and Elridgeworth, 2017. I remember a time when we used to have what we called free writing time. And this is the time when students could write letters, narratives, they could draw, they could illustrate without any concerns about grades or grammar. They were engaged and they were excited about writing a note to a friend. The third condition he mentions is a sense of ownership. In recent months, I have noticed that students feel a real sense of ownership when they use technology. Our fourth and fifth graders here are very tech savvy to the point that they can kind of do things that even some of the teachers struggle to do, just because they have been exposed to technology most, if not all, of their elementary career. And so when I think about my students that are at Promise, the students use read aloud options. It offers them a digital scaffold that can be read to them and even translated into Spanish. Students can see themselves as readers. McKenna, 2014. And so using the scaffolds to read research assists the students in understanding what they are writing about and increases their ownership. Um, Sometimes um, we don't just give this option to every single student. We look at the data, we lean in on our data. And so if a student is definitely on an access score of 1, we're going to give them some opportunities that we would not necessarily give a kid that is a 3 or 4 or 5 on the access scores. So we kind of try to be very strategic when we offer digital scaffolds. But when kids get creative and when they start creating in their writing, to have that option to use the computer, really it becomes their project, whether they're doing a book creator or they're doing a PowerPoint. Students have an authentic audience is the fourth condition. when I was reading the article from Calkin and Elrich, is when we wrote about chocolate milk at our school, I remember the students trying to persuade the principal um, whether there should or shouldn't be chocolate milk served in the cafeteria. And this is from Calkins and Elrich 2016. And as I was reading that article, and of course it popped up in my head, I remember very distinctly one of the years that we were using the units of study, and a student, the students, a teacher was out on maternity leave, and so I went into her class to do to her reading lessons, and I just remember how excited the kids were to discuss and to write about their view on the subject, and how they would debate each other, and they would get into these conversations and supporting evidence, and to hear them talk about how they felt, and then be able to just turn around then and write their persuasive essays about how they felt. It was just what the kids were like, since they knew they were going to get to share this with our principal, it gave them a true sense of purpose. The fifth one is intangibles: fun, laughter, a spirit of adventure. Um, in um, so they offer in the article written by several of the West Georgia professors, they offer several ideas to make writing fun for our at Promise students. Rela writing, I think I'm saying that right. Rela writing is when a student brings an item from home to share with the class, and then writes about the item. This is from Griffin, Cancel the Third, Ogletree, Allen, Suckland, 2020. In this article, as I was reading it, I kept noticing a particular phrase keep coming up over and over again, and so I started highlighting it. And that phrase was, teachers can model. And I guess when I think about this particular condition, fun and laughter, I can't help but think about a teacher. Students really enjoy hearing anything personal about their teacher. It makes teaching really fun. It reminds me of the other day, I picked up a student that I'm working with, and I know the students, all his academics, I know his data, but I didn't really know him like as a person. And so I picked him up on Friday a week ago, and I said, I just interviewed him just to learn a little more about his life and his family, and just him as a person. And so I told him, I said, on Monday when I pick you up, you can ask me anything you want to ask me. And so of course the weekend went through, and I went to pick him up on Monday, and he comes out the door and he says, list. And I'm like, list, like thinking, what are you talking about? And then we get in the elevator, and he goes, you said I could ask you any question I wanted to. And I said, okay, sure. And so he said, tell me, I want to know about a time you were embarrassed. And so I don't know how he came up with this question by himself. But so anyway, I shared with him a time that I was truly embarrassed. It was not a funny story. It was a very embarrassing story. And he was so sweet when we were heading off the elevator, he said, that's happened to me also. That's happened to me. And so it was like an instant connection between us, connecting over something that really wasn't funny. It was actually a true embarrassing moment. But it was kind of, I don't know, it automatically connected us. And that is those intangibles, when you can make those spontaneous connections with our kids. And of course, through writing, I mean, we it makes me like want to pull him out today and say, hey, why don't you write down your story about when you were embarrassed, and I'll write down the story when I'm embarrassed, and we can share it with each other. The sixth condition is high value of invention and original voice. Calkin and Aaronworth referred to a child's voice as a magical quality. The professors at West Georgia mentioned that rubric writing is giving students who otherwise would not even engage in writing a chance for their voices to be heard. Griffin, Council the Third, Ogletree, Allen, Suckland 2020. This makes me think about the rare occasions when I receive a note from my daughter. She has a very distinct voice in her writing that doesn't sound like anyone else's. I can definitely pick up like even if she doesn't sign it, I will know that it was her that wrote it and not my other daughter, just because of the way I've seen her writing through the years. And we're in the time now in March where our students, it's easier to recognize our students' voice. I know in August when we read their pieces, if they don't put their paper on it, we're not really sure, who it might belong to. But now that we're in March, even if we let our fifth graders type a paper, um, we if they don't put their name, we can kind of read the paper and kind of know, okay, I know who this belongs to, just because of some of the creativity that they use in their writing. That that voice it just streams on through all their writing. So these six conditions for writing can lift our students writing off the page and give us an insight into who they are, their passions, their concerns, and their inner thoughts. Now I would like to just take a few minutes, and I'm going to try to do this regular quickly, to talk a little bit about the current state of what's going on at my particular school. Like I said, we teach mostly MLLs, and I'm going to lean into that quite a bit. There's good news. Everyone is writing. Excuse me, just a sec. Get this light to come back on. Writing at our school is a priority. So that's why everyone is writing, because we do make it a priority. We make time for it. We schedule it. It's part of our curriculum. Students are given the opportunity to learn about a topic. They can discuss the topic with their peers. They write an essay, and then they create a performance task. What I like about the program is that it is better than what we had before, which was the units of study. Part of me feels that the real issue with the units of study was the lack of professional learning for teachers. Teachers learn through doing, reading, and reflecting. That's Calkins and Erin Wirtz 2016. We've learned that planning for writing has to be a team effort, because it's too much for just one person. Not that Now that we have adopted the new curriculum, the training has been abundant and sometimes required, sometimes optional. Teachers have been given many opportunities to attend professional learning. At my school, uh, it's taken some time for teachers to understand the curriculum, but now that they have, the students are we are seeing the benefits. I also want to mention I've been here a long time, so what I've seen happen in the past compared to today. And so in the past, you would say have a student in the third grade, and they would write you something. And then the same student then gets to fifth grade, and they write you something. We could put these papers side by side, and we weren't seeing any growth. It was the same. They weren't growing with their ideas. They weren't growing with convictions. They weren't growing with organization. It was just it stagnated. And I think, yes, a lot of it was because there wasn't proper professional learning for our teachers to be able to implement the plan that we had. So that was an issue. But I also feel like our MLLs need a framework. I do support them having a structure. I think we do the painted essay, and I can honestly say, um, if you walk across the whole fourth and fifth grade, which the painted essay is done before that, but that's just the ones I work with. If you walk across the grade level, you can see it gives them the structure they need to know the subject they're writing about, to be able to find the evidence, to figure out, how do I put this evidence or how do I put evidence and quotes into this format that has been established for me. And I know it sounds like it might be stifling, but it's almost like the kids needed this to be able to increase their writing abilities. Now, do I feel like this is a perfect solution? I don't. But what I do know is before we started this program, we were floundering when it comes to writing. And now that we have a curriculum and teachers have had training and kids are practicing and they're getting better and the improvement is happening. So I can't really, it's like, yes, oh, we miss free write so much. Um, and we try to make space for that. Sometimes it's very hard because of time. But do I feel like our older fourth and fifth graders are writing better than they ever have? I do. Um, has Do students lose some of their creativity in this? Of course they do, because it it's not a lot of choice to what they write about. But the choice comes in when after they have written their essay and they get a chance to present what they have learned. Yes, if they choose to present their essay and they want to just read their essay with to their class, that's great. But maybe they'll choose to do a poster, or maybe they'll choose to do a PowerPoint, or maybe they'll choose to use Book Creator. That is where we're coming in and we're doing some of that creativity, which also increases their ownership of their writing. Thank you.